So we were talking last time about being an influencer
Right.
and how you felt about that. And I am not going to use our answers from last time, but if you don't mind explaining that to me, as if you see yourself as an influencer, are you an influencer? What brought you to YouTube? Why did you go on YouTube? Let's start there.
Okay. So the picture I have in my head of a typical YouTube influencer, or let's say a social media influencer, are more the people that do like lifestyle vlogging. Maybe that's a wrong conception, but that's what I have in my head. So I do not consider myself an influencer. I don't really like the term. And I would consider myself a YouTube creator. So I like to share my passion. I like to inspire others. I love that I can contribute to someone's life by giving them ideas of what to do and inspiring them to find a creative outlet, to find a way to relieve their stress of their daily lives. That's what motivates me, and that's what keeps me going.
So,
and it was never the plan. So, excuse me.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was never the plan to make a business out of it. I shared this for 3 years without getting any money for it from YouTube. And I just enjoyed sharing what I was doing. I had a full-time job at the time, but as my channel grew and as my interests developed and wanting to have my own online store and everything just kind of worked out so that I could make it into a full-time job, and it's the best decision ever.
And okay, so there are lots of things like on YouTube, there's everything. So, cooking, painting, like Frill does painting. I don't know why I'm moving my mouse. I'm gonna take my mouse away so I don't play with it. So there's all kinds of things what was the creative outlet again? What brought you to junk journals? Where did you hear about them? Where did it start? Did you know the history of them? Anything?
So I always used to do creative things on the side of having like a normal office job. That was always a very necessary outlet for me. And I, of course, was watching YouTube like many others, and I came across the channel from Jenny Belly. She was one of the few people that shared junk journaling on YouTube back then. This was a few years ago. There weren't that many people doing that. And I was completely hooked from the first moment I saw her channel and what she was doing, and that she was using pieces of junk, pieces that other people would throw away. I was completely mesmerized and hooked. Previously to that, I had participated in like art journaling and art journaling courses and things like that. And that was then just the jump from art journaling to junk journaling. And I have a feeling that's something that is always going to be with me because of how versatile it is. Because I think art journaling can be a part of junk journaling, as can so many other crafts. So all that can be put into a junk journal, which is why it keeps me so interested, because I'm someone that loves change and I hate repeating things. I need change all the time. So the junk journal is for me the perfect like catch-all thing where I can incorporate all the creative things I've learned over the many years, because it all fits into a journal. As long as it's flat enough to fit into a journal, I will put it in there. And that's why it stays interesting for me.
It's also a space issue for you, isn't it?
Completely. Yes. That's why I don't do any like 3D art, because I wouldn't know where to put them. So it's very important for me that I can store them either on my bookshelf or in boxes. Yeah, that's definitely a huge issue.
So you've been doing it about 3 years, right?
Almost 4 years now, I think.
4 years.
Yeah.
And now you started a podcast. And what
Right.
inspired you to start a podcast?
I was on a walk in my beautiful botanical garden near my flat, and I was listening to an art podcast. I don't remember anymore who it was by. And this lady announced that she's looking for people to be on her podcast, and she was specifically looking for people that were earning, that had a business that had a creative business, and at the same time people who didn't have their main business through Instagram, because she was focused on Instagram. So I applied because I thought, oh, that would be fun to be in her podcast, because I really enjoyed it, and wrote her a direct message on Instagram. And unfortunately, she never got back to me, which obviously is disappointing. I mean, in at least the reply to say like, I already have my participants would have been nice. But anyway, she didn't. So that got me to thinking, you know what? Why don't I have my own? I don't have to rely on someone else having me in their podcast. I'll just make my own podcast, and I'll even step it up and make it a visual podcast, because I thought there would be enough interest from viewers, because there's so many topics going around with junk journals, and there's so many topics you can discuss without having to physically show what you're doing, like, you know, not tutorials or anything like that, but just talking, sharing your thoughts about junk journaling in general. And I thought it would be really nice to have these kind of discussions with fellow junk journalers who are also on YouTube, and share our experiences with the viewers, to show the viewers that they are not alone with their issues and their questions and their problems that they have on a daily basis with junk journaling. That was the intention.
And how did you contact all these people? Like, you just asked them that you were doing a podcast, or?
Yeah, I started out with, of course, with the fellow junk journalers I was closest to, that I had collaborations and contact with on a regular basis. And I checked what they would think about it. And that was then the first podcast, I think, with Joey DeFee and Louisa Heinzel. I believe that was the first one. And from there, from there, of course, then you have a reference. You can then contact other people and say, hey, do you want to do something like this? Would you like to be on a podcast and have a discussion like this? And of course, as of the second one, it's a lot easier. Although my biggest challenge is getting people on the podcast, because maybe you have noticed most junk journalers don't like showing their face. So most junk journalers, you will always only see their hands, and you don't know what they look like. And they're a lot of times shy to come on camera. So it's been a huge challenge finding people that are willing to do this and showing their face.
I found it interesting that one of the things you said was, she's a member of my team, about somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what does she mean? When you've said that several times. You said that while junk journaling, and you said that about somebody, even an Egyptian, it sounded like an Egyptian person. I could be wrong. It had to do with your images, like somebody helped you with the images, and you said somebody is part of my team, and I was a little confused about that, or how that works, I guess.
So most, or maybe not most, but many creators that also have a shop to sell digital products have a design team to help them promote their digital products. So these are fellow creators, whether they're on YouTube or Instagram, and varies, that have access to digitals. So in my case, they would have access to all of my digitals, and they promote them by making one project a month, either on YouTube or on Instagram. And so the benefit for them is, no, let's say start the other way. Obviously, the benefit for me is that I have other people promoting my products. They have a different reach than I do, because different people watch their channels than, you know, the ones that watch my channel. So that's my benefit. Their benefit is that, first of all, they get all the digitals for free. But I think the greater motivation is that a lot of these channels want to grow. And of course, having the exposure of working with my products, and in turn, me also promoting their videos using my products, gives them a greater reach and allows them to grow probably a little bit faster. So it's a win-win situation, and it works out. It's great.
I didn't understand it when you said it, so I didn't know what made these people your team or how that worked. Now, what about the drawings? The drawings you do on computer that are part of your digitals? The Egyptian one specifically, is that made out of photographs or collages, or you do the drawing?
No, I don't do the drawings. I have a friend, her name is Ray, and she has worked with me so far now on 3 digital kits, and the Egyptian one was part of that. So what I do is I send her images. So those could be photographs of physical objects or some other images I might have, and she will then draw those on her iPad and also paint them. And she sends them back to me then as a digital image, which I then use to make my kits. Yeah. That's it, basically. I'm not good at, basically, I could learn how to draw. I enjoy drawing, but I don't have enough time to do everything, right? I can't spend, I don't know, so many hours a week drawing and then making the kits themselves, then putting them in my shop, doing all the work with the shop, making the videos, editing the videos. It's too much for one person to handle. So that's why I would love to draw, and I do draw a little bit on the side, but not enough to create a full kit.
So who is Ray, and does she have like is she an artist or graphic designer? Or
Ray is someone I met because she is one of the few people I had contact with while she was in Vienna. She's currently in Germany. She's actually a student. She studies biology. And she just loves drawing, and she's very good at it. And she has an Instagram account where she shows mostly photos of her planners, where she has her drawings and stickers and all kinds of things. And one day we just got to talking, and I think it was her that suggested it, that she would just like to share some of her drawings with me and whether I could use them. And that's how we kind of came up with this. And every few months, she will make some drawings for me, depending on, you know, her studies and how she has time. So no, she's not a graphical designer at all. She's self-taught, and she really enjoys doing it. That's it.
that's very lucky for you. I think
lucky.
what I'm amazed at is how much people cooperate.
I must say, I do pay her though. It's not like she's doing this for free. We did agree on payment terms and everything. So I'm happy, of course, to share, you know, my earnings from those digitals that she helps me make, because it's a collaboration. But of course, it's very special, because who else has someone that will have drawings that are just for her, like her drawings are exclusive, nobody else has them. Of course, you can buy drawings online, which is what everyone else does, and what I do for my other kids where I don't have Ray for my, to draw for me. But having these are very special because I'm the only person that has these drawings.
The Froil had somewhere that she uses copyright images, or they're not copyrighted images, and she gets images from that. And
Right.
I was surprised at that. I didn't know what kind of images those would be, or if that's particular to New Zealand or.
No, I think that's what designers do. They go online and they find copyright-free images. Usually you purchase them, but there's also sites where you can find ones for free. You just have to do research.
Well, there's Gypsy Fairy or somebody like that. Anyway, I saw that. But you're saying something else. I thought she went to a site where all these copyright-free images were.
Yeah, there's many sites that have copyright-free images.
But you pay for them.
You have free ones and you have ones where you pay. There's
Okay.
both. Right.
Yeah, because the one I think she mentioned was a lifetime, you could be a lifetime member or something. Anyway, this just takes us off in another tangent, but it's interesting that people actually do pay attention to copyright and do get copyright-free images.
Of course, if you're going to sell something, you need to do your research and make sure it's copyright free. That's very, very important. Also with things that you want to scan, like if I buy a book from the flea market, I can't just scan it and put it in my shop. I need to check what is the publishing date, when is the, because every country has its own copyright laws, of course. So in Austria, it's I find it very difficult because it says like the author needs to have passed away at least 70 years ago. So you have to research when the author of the book actually passed away. It's really kind of ridiculous. But yeah, each country has their own laws.
In the United States, it's 1933.
So that's much easier. See,
everything before 1933, and I think they changed that. They might have made it like a little later too.
But I love that. That makes it really easy.
Right, because everything before 1933 is
copyright free.
You can find images though at flea markets, like old images that are available. I saw you going through your craft closet, and I actually saw some of your little tags and different kinds of things that you made. They're very lovely. They're very beautiful.
Thank you.
I thought they were amazing. I didn't know, did you make all of those the ones that you were trying to arrange in your craft table?
Yeah, those are all mine.
Those are pretty amazing. So I went through your craft table with you and I saw you arrange things. Anyway, so
I just filmed another episode of that series just before I got on. I was just editing that. Yeah. It's an ongoing huge project, this thing.
It looks like it's slightly more organized. Do you feel that it is?
Slowly getting there. It's really, it's amazing how emotional it can get, because apparently, we're so attached to our supplies and we love our supplies. So it's so hard to declutter, but it's so necessary because I don't only have what's in here. I have things all around my apartment and I hate it. Like I just want to have everything contained in one area and have that area organized, but that seems to be mission impossible.
But junk journals don't work like that. You never
I
know
know.
when you need something that maybe you'll become rich and move to a bigger apartment or buy a house. It's
But
all
yes, of
very
course, my
interesting.
dream is to have a craft room one day, obviously. Hopefully I will get there at one point.
Well, I'm sure you will. I like to be positive about it. Yes.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, I'm not
anyway,
happy having everything all over. My husband is thankfully he's very accepting of it, but I don't feel comfortable. I want my living room and dining room to be a living and dining room and not have a craft room. I don't like it. I like things to be organized and separate. And when you're junk journaling, you're hoarding. Like it doesn't fit in my mind. I'm not someone who likes clutter. In my mind, I'm a much more minimalistic person. I like empty surfaces and organized things. But when you're junk journaling, that really is not possible. It's a
no,
constant
I didn't think it
battle in my mind.
I didn't
Sorry.
think it was possible to junk journal and not have, if you had a garage or something, a heated someplace separate that you could just put your things in, that would be nice. But
Yeah, I don't know. I would want them near me, not somewhere I still have to go, because I would never use it then. It has to be right near you. Otherwise, it's pointless. I don't even see or use, I was just realizing it today when I was continuing here. I have some things that were behind some other things. I didn't even know they were there. It's pointless. When you don't see it, it's, out of, what is it? Out of sight, out of mind.
Hmm.
Yeah.
so anything you want to talk about junk journaling or,
Hmm.
anything you want to share about junk journaling? Do you think it will continue on, or do you think it's a phase, or
No, I definitely don't think it's a phase. I think on the contrary, it's gaining more popularity because I think a lot more people are more conscious of trash and junk and recycling, and this is a perfect way to do it. So I think we're going to head more into that direction, if anything. And also, given the fact that you can incorporate so many things into junk journaling and that it's so versatile, I think it speaks to a lot of people. I think a lot of people just don't know that this exists, but I think once they see it, a lot of people are fascinated with it. A lot of people have never heard of it, but just like you discovered it and you thought it was super interesting. I think that's what's happening with a lot of people that discover it, because it's something they would have never thought of maybe themselves. Art journaling, yes, it's known. Obviously, scrapbooking, it's known. Sketchbooking, yes, but junk journaling is still kind of new and not well known, and I think it will gain a lot in popularity. Yeah, I have high
well,
hopes.
and you will be one of the senior members of doing it.
Well, that sounds horrible.
I know, but that's the truth.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess.